Well, I'm sure I'd wanted to do this a few years ago actually, and it was hard to find you guys on Instagram because I was typing your name in on Instagram, but your name on Instagram is Ricky Carper, right?
Rick
And
Carpy,
so it
Sherlock.
wasn't coming up, but I found you this time, and with Paul, I'd found his art page, and he messaged me and he was saying this is my art page. Who spoke on the personal one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where to find any other cast really, but no, I'm happy I've got yourself. You're one of the main ones, Paul, and if Anna gets back to me, we'll do that one, and then that'll probably be it. But Don played Mark Hammond and Joe Rice. I don't think they're on social media, are they?
Do you know, I've never seen them, and I'm sure I would have done. I mean, if you, all I did, I went onto YouTube again and just typed in the Getaway and my name, and then I just watched a clip of it because I couldn't even remember, some of the things that I said. And then, and I know some of you actually asked eyebrows to do something, and I thought got to say something, I've got to try and remember some of the words. So I actually had a little listen to how we made it, and just watched myself for a minute. So
Yeah. When I spoke to Paul, he said a lot of the cast were from that sort of world anyway, or reformed from that world. Do you think it's that element to the characters and the cast that made the getaway so real and raw?
yeah, yeah. Obviously, Anna wasn't a gun totting. She was probably more your Lara Croft girl. That's why Paul said he played Lara Croft, because she was a hot chick. That's the only game that he played, but that's probably why.
Oh yeah, when he said he broke his leg.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and it weren't
yeah.
me. Um, but no, I mean, obviously, Anna didn't come from that side of things, but I don't know what her background is, but she was just a good actress. But yeah, I mean, there was Goldie on there, Dave Gold. I think he passed. But Dorman, total gentleman, like a fifth Dan, and you didn't mess with him, but a real great guy. Chopper was on there. Chopper ended up in the Lock Stock movies. He's worked for Guy Ritchie a few times. He's a black fella with a big gap in his teeth. Again, cracking fella, really cracking fella. Not a gangster, looks like one. And I had a lot of gangster. My old man was a little bit of a boy when he was younger, so I kind of learnt from him. Brilliant dad, but and never see any of that in my house. But I just look like I'm a gangster. I've got mates who are. Um, and in fact, two of them turned around and said, "How come I didn't get the part? And I'm a gangster and you did?" I said, "Because you're scary on set. They don't want you on set. Because you will kick off."
Yeah. What was a typical day like on the set? Was you in there all day, every day? Was it intense? Did you get any freedom to develop the characters, or was it tightly directed? How did it work?
No, I think it was new to everybody. Even when Brendan wrote it, he was an Australian guy that wrote it, and he's writing it about London gangsters. Now, I don't know if he had much, you know, interaction with London gangsters. I don't think he would have done. He was too much of a nice guy. So when we were called in, we were kind of called in for what we looked like. But when like Paul's working in the East End, he sees it all day long. I was born in Peckham, which is can be a bit of a rough area. A mate of mine who passed away, Colin Butts, brilliant writer, lived, same thing, flat nose, bit of an ear. Had gyms, see gangsters, lived in Ibiza. So I kind of done all the same things. So I knew a lot of them kind of characters. But yeah, we were given free reign. We were like, I would look at something and it would be like, maybe it would say something like, well, don't you go there. That's not right. And I'd say, well, you can't say don't you or do not go there. It'd be like, don't you go there. And they'd say, great, just do it. So that's what we were allowed to do. Or if I was reading something and say, this, no way a gangster would say this. And they'd say, well, what would a gangster say? And I'd say it and he'd go, give you a thumbs up. They'd never try to pull you one way to make you do something different if you thought something was wrong. They just wanted the best, that you could be, and be a character. So yeah, we'll be given plenty of time to be ourselves, and days could be long. When we first started, you go in for a few hours. It might be a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there, and then some days were 14, 15, 16 hours.
What was it like when you seen yourself in the game for the first time after working on it, and then you see yourself? That must have been weird.
It was because, we had this motion capture stuff on. And as Eyebrows was saying, Paul, it was lycra suits. And, some of the guys had bellies. Some of them were big old chunks. And we're all walking around in these little lycra suits. We've bought white ping pong balls all over us, and as you work, you're doing stuff, we're having a fight scene, one of them might come off. And if it come off, it'd be cut, we got to go again. And you don't really see yourself doing anything because it's all blue screen or green screen. And then you walk into the office and you see these guys, they'd be typing away. And they've got a screen in front of them with lots of balls. No people, just lots of balls. And they join them together, pulling them like strings. Hours and hours. You wouldn't have to do that now. AI just do it, And that's how it was. It was literally done one movement at a time, which is why it took like two years to come to fruition. It took a long, long time. But we would do that, and then they'd put your character on it, and then they'd get you. You'd have to actually act while you were doing it. So you'd do your stuff, you go into your part, you do your bits and pieces, and then they say, we didn't catch that stuff. So you go into a studio where the computers were, and you do your little bit and mix it in, and then they'd make it work. But it was good. I mean, I looked at it and I thought, I'm an ugly bastard with that mask on,
It was scary. So when did the production start then? Was it, because the game came out in late 2002, didn't it? So what was it, 2000 then, when you started production?
No, yeah. I moved here in 2002. So it was right when I just finished everything. I ended up moving over here.
Yeah. Was the game big in America at the time? Because I know it is now.
I'm not sure. All I know is I sat with Brendan because he said, Sony, a lot of people might not know this. I'm going to get some information out now, and I don't think I can get done for it now because it's way, way, way too far away, gone. But Brendan wrote that script, and he turned round. They said, we want to do a number 2. It had taken so long, cost so much money. They chucked money into it like they chucked at video games were cheap to make. They were just, a couple of mil, a few mil, and they could make a ton of money. They spent a fortune on this, absolute fortune, but they made a fortune. It was like the number 1 selling game, and I'm like, Paul, I got my silver discs or my gold platinum discs up on the wall for 1 million sales. They sold millions and millions of copies, so they done really, really well. And they said, we want to make a number 2, which was not going to be Black Monday. Number 2, they spoke to Brendan, and we sat and talked about it. He said, I want to do you as you. So you won't have a mask on. You're going to be Charlie Jolson when he was becoming the gangster. And
like that's a prequel.
Yeah. Yeah, a prequel. Yeah, totally. He said, we can do the other ones later on. He said, but while you're young, let's do it now, or youngish. And that was exciting for me. And he said to me, do yourself a favor, go to America, get yourself a manager or an agent, because this is going to be big. And you'll earn what you should earn. Because we didn't, I don't know if I was one of the biggest earners on it, but it wasn't a lot of money. Now I look back, for the amount of money they made on it, we got paid a pittance, really. I lost commercial after commercial because I was busy doing it. I lost a big Nike commercial, which is probably worth 20 grand, which was more than I got paid for the job over 2 years.
Really?
And I had to turn it down because I was working that day, and we couldn't. I might have been in San Francisco. We'd done a live studio thing, a live game show, which comes on every year, and I might have been there. So yeah, I turned the stuff down that lost me money. But I knew that I had to go to America because if I'm going to write me in, I wasn't going to be with the same agent anymore. This would have been separate. And I went to see someone and in LA. I went over there and I just literally knocked on doors like Rocky said he did when he was trying to sell his script. You can't do that anymore because you can't knock on people's doors, you get arrested. You can't go into studios over in America because they've got gates on, because of terrorism and things like that and the nutcases out there. But I literally did. I went around, I found out who was who, found a really, really good woman who was a very good agent, and she was an older lady. And I walked in, and when she came in, she went, "Who are you?" And I said, "You're just about to find out." So I said, "Here's a video of me. This is what I've done. This is voiceover stuff." Went through, and I said, "But the main reason I'm here. She said, I get loads of people like this. She said, I don't even know why you're in my office. And she looked at the video and she went, oh, wow, you can act. She said, but why are you really here? I said, because there's a game coming out. It's already come out. We're already on big sales. And I think they're going to make a number 2. And I will need someone to represent me. And I want you to be that person. So she put something together. And it was literally like a point on the back of, there was no money up front. It's just a point on the back of each sale. It would have made millions.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between America and England.